something that we're seeing kind of more and more with our clients, specifically our clients in the financial sector, is the rise of questions around consumer duty. So I just thought it'd be interesting for us to have a bit of a conversation about where UX fits into that, if it does, what consumer duty really means for our clients and what we can do to help them.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting when you kind of get that consumer duty, almost like a bit of a mashup with UX, is that it's all about those better outcomes, right? We're trying to do the best outcome for the users and for the customers. And what's really nice with UX is we can repurpose a lot of the skills and tools and methodologies within that vertical of finance to make sure that we give them the best outcome for customers. I think it's really kind of nice space to play.
Absolutely. I think the two overlap almost perfectly without intending to. I mean, so the consumer duty, as you know, is a set of standards that the FCA have set out. And the overarching theme is that there are better outcomes for customers. So whether that's protecting them from unforeseeable harm, ensuring that they're communicating clearly, and doing the best for their customers. If you took those three examples on their own, you'd apply them to any UX project and say, yeah, that's absolutely the space that we work in.
So I think one of the things that I love about what we've done is we've repurposed some tools and techniques and brought that into consumer duty space. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about what it is that you've built here at Jaywing.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's something I'm actually really proud of on a personal level. So I'll start off with the pure kind of consumer duty aspect, because I suppose that's what's most unique. So our clients came to us and said, the FCA have said we've got to do X, Y, and Z. How do we not only do it, but also prove that we're doing it? Because that's a huge factor of the consumer duty as well, is that you can evidence that you're doing the right thing. So we thought, okay, well, how do you evidence something? You need to have some kind of report. Okay, so the output's going to be a report. But we started with a really simple framework. So I read through the duty many, many times and said, okay, well, what are the key pullouts? And from there, we were able to create an almost heuristic scorecard, I suppose is what you'd kind of call it. So we work with our clients on a one-on-one basis and created a bespoke framework that really kind of digs into those FCA consumer duty principles, but allows us to review it in a way that is actionable, because ultimately we want to give our clients really clear almost instructions of this is working well, this could be improved, this is fundamentally broken. And it's not always that extreme, but that provides value to them. So when we're doing this then on a regular basis, which is generally what we recommend, so maybe it might be once every 3 months, we can ensure that whatever communications they're sending out are consistently improving. So we've done it on a variety of kind of different asset types. So we've done it with pure creative ads, we've done it with emails, we've done it with DMs, which has been really interesting because we're always having that conversation of, okay, how do we replicate this to feel like a real human experience? So it's been an interesting challenge about how do we take this really obscure, very big duty and turn it into something tangible, actionable, and understandable.
I think what I love about this is almost the UX of the work around the work. So the fact that we have this this roster of financial clients that we've been able to systemize this bespoke process is fantastic. So yes, we're kind of now in a great place where we've got that scorecard, we've got that matrix, and we can start to really encourage our clients and some of these large organisations to make sure that they're continuously thinking about those better outcomes for customers, and using those UX principles of heuristics and scorecards and usability testing to evidence that and to set them up for success.
And we know that it's something that they're coming to us with because we have, big brand clients that have a huge amount of content that they're trying to assess, and that's very difficult for an internal team to own that alone. But I think when we come in as that third party, we're looking at it with fresh eyes and with our own kind of unique skill set. So like you said there, when we're employing lots of different UX kind of skills, it's not just the scorecard, it's that usability testing, it's the accessibility testing, which again is a very interesting one within the consumer duty space, because it's not just saying, well, somebody might have a disability, that means they can't read something very easily. It's saying, well, if they can't read something easily, can they still take out the product if it's the right product for them? And that's essentially what we want to enable, is that everybody has not only equal opportunity, but equitable opportunity. And I think that's what's really interesting here. It's not about making it all the same. It's about making sure that people at various levels of wherever they are in the consumer kind of process, or within their own life stage, it's going to be appropriate to them.
So I think one of the things you mentioned before is really important as well is this concept of evidence, which is something that, maybe a little bit more unique to FCA and consumer duty than we've seen in UX, but maybe we can talk a little bit about how we can use some of that UX outputs to help with the evidence for those brands.
Absolutely. So I think from our client's perspective, they're trying to protect their customers. So that's one element. But the other element is that if they don't and they can't prove that they're protecting their customers, that puts them in a very vulnerable position. So the FCA have very explicitly said you need to be proving that you're looking at these things and that you are consistently trying to make improvements. So what we try to do when we're talking about that kind of continuous flow of work is ensure that we're looking at it from start to finish across whatever that might be, the year, as opposed from siloed project to project. So we're having a much better idea of whether those improvements are still being made. And if they're not, what's the missing gap? Is it something that we can work on with the client, for example? Is it an internal problem that maybe we can't help with, but we know somebody who might be able to help with? So, it's an interesting space for us to be working in.
Yeah, and I think just taking the topic towards AI a little bit, because we can't not talk about AI in this, but I think this is why it's really important that we do still reach out to our actual users and the people that are interacting with our products and services. So yes, AI can help us in some use cases, and synthetic users, we're still trying to work out how best to use those and how much we can trust them. But I think specifically for FCA, when you've got vulnerable customers with such an array of different needs and access and support requirements, handing some of that off to AI to simulate is probably not where we should be heading. So I really enjoy the fact that we're still reaching those customers and we're still representing them in the work that we do. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think it's about picking and choosing when AI is appropriate. So we know that we start a lot of our projects with AI attention mapping, for example, and that's really useful for clients as a starting point, but it's certainly not the place where we finish. And when we're talking about those synthetic users, I personally think it's a really big risk, because when we're looking at the products that we are, this is credit card agreements, this is potentially mortgage agreements, somebody's buying a new car, this is not a small amount of money or a small risk. There are really big risks attached. And I think when there's big risks at play, we need to ensure that we're talking to real people who understand those risks and who kind of feel them at a very human level. And I think that humanity can't necessarily be replicated just yet. And maybe one day it will, and I'll be eating my words, but we'll get to that when we do. The space is evolving constantly, but I think what we're seeing is that our clients trust us. And I think that's really valuable, because output we're providing is reliable and it's actionable. And ultimately, that's what they need in these cases.
I think so as well. And I think what's been great from the work that we've seen so far is that because there's a frequency to this, we can iterate as things go through those cycles. So it's been really great to see our financial clients take this on board. It's not just a one and done. It's they're seeing the importance of this, whether it be the vulnerable customer side of things, the inclusive design, not just the consumer duty part of it, but that whole package of actually being more customer centric and seeing them do that regularly. It then allows us to iterate as AI starts to become more adopted and more sophisticated. We can start to see what path that takes us down. It's an exciting space to be in.
And even in the last 24 months, we've iterated our own processes, and I think that's what it's all about. It's that continuous improvement, whether that's from our clients or even our own internal team, and saying, actually, I think there's a better way we can do this, or maybe another team member has seen something and we go, oh, we would like to include that. So yeah, like you said, it's exciting, and I think that leaves us in a good position.